I think it is our egos that get in our way. We're all created to survive, and yet our thinking becomes distorted when we focus on ourselves, on our plans and our agendas, because we have such a minuscule view of God's world. It brings up the old adage that there is no I in team. And I think it is the team, or the thankful community of God, which we are called to be. Having a willingness to be transformed by God means giving up our need for control. Now, I don't know about you, but I know I don't like that. I like to be in control. I like to know that I know what I'm doing. I know what other people are doing. Everything's good. I'm happier that way. But it's not about me. It's about God. I really liked what I found a piece written by Richard Rohr, and I think he beautifully describes this by saying, what we are all searching for is someone to surrender to, something that we can prefer to life itself. Well, here is the wonderful surprise. God is the only one we can surrender to without losing ourselves. I'm going to say that again because I think that's the heart of the matter. God is the only one that we can surrender to without losing ourselves. And there's a bit of irony actually in the surrender, because it is actually in surrendering to God that we find ourselves, but now in a whole new and much larger field of meaning. And it is relying on God that we find the strength to persevere. According to Paul, it is through our prayer life that we find not an unengaged serenity, but strength from a peace that keeps us from reaching that brink of despair, as it did for Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. In prayer, we will find a peace that goes beyond any type of rational resolution. William Loader defined it this way. It is that sense of the presence of God, the awareness of oneness with the compassionate one, who is engaged up to the neck in life and is bigger than our imaginations and our solutions. By looking at peace in Advent, we need also to reflect on how we are peaceful in the waiting. For Advent is all about waiting for God. So we are expecting God to come into our world yet again this Christmas Eve, that we may know more fully hope, love, peace, and joy through Jesus Christ. So having said all this, I have a confession to make. I am not a very peaceful person. I have found in looking at my life, I am least peaceful when I'm driving. I think about my grandfather who learned how to drive in 1933, and he loved to drive. He found such enjoyment in driving. There wasn't much else he loved better than a Sunday afternoon drive in the country to see the sights. It just gave him such joy. I don't find that joy when I drive. I think that I mean, logic says there's more cars on the road than when he started driving. But I started really looking at myself and my reactions. And while I'm waiting at a stop sign to pull out, I am not peaceful when someone else's car blocks my entrance to the road. Nor am I peaceful when someone who decides that they need to be in front of me cuts in when there's not enough room. Nor am I peaceful when someone executing their right to turn, their right on red initiative or whatever that is, pulls out right in front of me. As you can see, I've thought way too much about this. Focused on me again. But I thought you might be able to relate. And I wonder, how peaceful are you while you drive? Or how peaceful are the drivers you ride with? Last Tuesday, I decided to go home a different way. And I took Farmingdale Road. Now, if any of the rest of you were sitting on Farmingdale Road last Tuesday, between 4 and I don't know when, you would know that the longest train of my life went across Farmingdale Road. So, as I sat there in the line, I decided this was a time when I needed to practice being peaceful. And as the cars ahead of me kept turning around, I eventually got to the front of the line. It gave me an opportunity to look underneath the train and see all the other people on the other side who were also stuck like I was, including 2 school buses, which I knew had no opportunity to do a 3-point turn on Farmingdale Road. So they were stuck. There was just no doubt about it. And what struck me then was, why do I think that my schedule is any more important than any of those other people's schedules? Why do I think my schedule is even more important than the train conductor's schedule? This wasn't a conspiracy against me to create this long train. So instead of fuming about it, I chose to pray. To pray for that peace that surpasses all understanding. And I found it for a little while. But my strength to persevere, I have to admit, only lasted about an hour, and then I too turned around and went home another way. So I don't know how long that train lasted. But the value of that moment was that for even a brief time, I was not anxious, but content. I was not angry, but relaxed. Not fidgeting with energy, but still. And it is in the contentment, the relaxation, and the stillness that I most fully experience God. Just as it was into a night of silence and calm that Jesus was born. May we individually and collectively allow room for an experience of the holy to enter our lives this season. Amen.